Am I the asshole for refusing to let my husband eat from my plate at the restaurant? My husband and I have totally different taste when it comes to food. That's perfectly fine. However, lately, and whenever we go out to a restaurant, we'd both order different dishes, then he suddenly asks to eat from my dish and would throw a fit if I refuse. He's done this several times and I snapped and told him to stop asking and order from the same dish if he wanted it so bad. Last night, we went out for dinner and ordered different dishes. Before we made the order, I asked if he was sure about the dish he picked and he said, yes. The food arrived and each of us had our plate and started eating. Literally minutes later, he asked if he could eat from my dish. I looked at him like, are you serious right now? And he went on about how he couldn't res the looks of the dish and really wanted to try it. I refused and said no. I kept eating and he kept pushing till I blew up and he got quiet all of a sudden. He then got up and walked out. He was furious with me and picked an argument at home when I got back. He said that I acted petty and that all he asked for was a few bites from my meal and I chose to make a scene and yell and embarrass him instead. We're not speaking to each other right now because of what happened. I feel shitty about it and I think that I could have just let him have some of the food instead of choosing to die on such silly hill. Edit. We pay for our meals separately. Frankly, this just seems strange. You're married but pay for your own meals when out together? Do you ask for separate checks? Is he asking for just a bite to taste or actually eat? Does he not like his dish? Or since you both pay for your own meals, is he short on money so wants to eat your dish and take his home for leftovers? This is what jumped out to me. Seems like there's a lot of discontent in the marriage, not just him eating from her plate. I thought this was weird too. It's not to say that every couple has to share food, but my husband always gets a taste of what I have and I get a taste of his too. We were out to eat. Same, my husband and I both say, can I try? When we order different stuff. I find nothing wrong with a bite here or there. Also, he tends to eat my leftovers, with my blessing. This seems really odd. We used to say, taste for a taste? Not the asshole. Roberts _2003 doesn't share food. How you doing? It's not about a few fries. It's about what the fries represent all food. Not the asshole. Some people, like my brother and his wife, are totally fine with sharing food. But they both are. Some people are not fine sharing food. Both are correct. It's a personal choice and boundary. Your husband is not respecting your choice and boundary. He needs to. Just because he wants to, doesn't mean he gets to. And throwing a tantrum because he's told no? So immature. Exactly. I grew up in foster care and I absolutely will not share food because of traumas. NTA. You have a boundary and he knows it, but he pressed on after you said no. No is a complete sentence. A lot of people take their own experiences for granted. The important thing is that they respect when someone else states theirs and does their best to accept and respect them. Consent is so important for so many issues, especially with those who disclose traumas. I feel you and completely agree. Not the asshole. I hate when people do this. He needs to eat his own food and shut up. How absurdly immature and bizarre. Agreed. It's fine if I offer for you to taste my food, but don't just ask all the time. Let me enjoy my meal. Dang lol. Believe it or not, even that can get old and annoying. Family member. Every time we eat out together, and only 2 seconds after the plates arrive at the table, do you want to try some of mine? I've not even taken the first bite of my own food yet. I've expressed numerous times that I don't care to eat off of their plate, and they can stop asking. Have they? No. It's every time. Not enough information. When you say, eat from your plate, you mean completely swapping dishes, right? If that's the case, then not the asshole. If your husband just wanted to taste a bite of your dish for variety, I'd say it's a soft you are the asshole situation. Definitely need more info here. It's pretty normal to try a bite of your partner's food when eating out. Hell, my wife will usually put a bit of what she ordered on my plate before I even ask, and vice versa. But, if the guy is wanting to basically eat half her meal every time, then that would be pretty annoying. Maybe she also has food-related issues? Yay, but not all people are like that. If I don't offer food up to tried, my husband should respect my boundary of not wanting to share food. It's personal preference, and I hate when people try to take food off my plate, especially if I haven't even tried it yet. Joey doesn't share FOOOOODDDD. LOL reference from the show Friends if you don't know. But, to be serious, you have already stated your preferences and boundaries. You do not like it when he asks for food off your plate. If anything, it's silly and rude of him to continue to ask when he knows you don't like it. It is kind of petty though on your part. Most people don't care to share or offer a bite, so if that's all he's asking for is a bite, you're kind of the asshole. But if he is wanting a large share of your food, def not the asshole. It's odd that original poster's partner is throwing a tantrum over a bite of someone else's food when they have an entire plate that they picked out right in front of them though. Like, original poster's partner isn't starving to death and isn't getting stuck with food he can't possibly eat. It would also be different if original poster and her partner were exchanging bits of food so they could try each other's plates, but original poster isn't interested in that. It's weird that her partner has his own plate that he took the time to order, still wants her food and then is calling her selfish. It read like a power move to me. Like getting her to share he wins. Because he beat down the original nose. I don't know, this is weird and she's not being selfish. It's a weird way of asserting dominance or something. My dad used to stuff his face and as soon as he saw me sitting down ready to eat he would bully me into giving him just a bite. He wasn't hungry and this wasn't a meal that was meant for both of us, or even a meal he had been looking forward to. He just saw me eating and for some reason needed to have a bite. It was never a small one either. Original poster's boyfriend is a bully and is trying to emotionally manipulate her into giving him her food every single time they eat just to assert his dominance. Not the asshole. I hate people eating off my plate too, so I get it. Same, I hate people eating my food, but if the person's mouth and body parts have been in me, then a little saliva on a fork so they can sample a taste is nothing in the grand scheme of things. It isn't about the sharing of spit. For me, it is about my brain having an expectation of what I am going to eat. If I expect a little bag of chips to be mine, and someone wants one of the chips, my brain has a very hard time shifting the expectation. But, if I eat my chips and have one left over that I don't feel the need to eat, I will offer it up. It sounds like I am making excuses, and perhaps I am. I ask my husband to respect my need to offer to share or have the sharing discussed prior to ordering. Not the asshole. It's the fact that he throws a tantrum when you say no that makes you not the asshole. However, your marriage doesn't sound like it's all put together yet. NGL kinda weird to know that you pay for your meals separately, but also that he's childish enough to just walk out when he doesn't get his way. There's a comment somewhere up above where they said their friend's husband did things like this. Suddenly started acting weird and trying to make her friend crazy because he wanted to cheat but wanted the separation to be on her. Since this is a relatively new development, I have to wonder if it's something like this. Like this sounds weird and very intentional. ETA. Not enough information. This sounds like a symptom of a larger problem. Do you even like each other? I saw in an edit that you even pay for your dinner separately? I know everybody is different, but if my wife and I order different things, we will often just offer a bite of what we are having to the other. Sometimes it is accepted, sometimes not. But at the end of the day, each of us is willing to share with our partner. You two are acting like you're strangers who met on the bus. Not the asshole. You've had this discussion with your husband. He still wants to try some of your food, knowing that doing so bothers you. This isn't a hill you chose to die on because of a single occurrence. This is a hill you chose to die on because he keeps doing it. Have you discussed this when you're not out for dinner? Have you discussed why he cannot accept your saying no? This is why I'm not the asshole. It's the repeated occurrence. I get just a taste seems like nothing, but original poster said no and husband keeps asking when he knows the answer. It's like he's purposefully angling for an argument. Not the asshole. If they are not communal dishes served family style, if you don't want to share, you don't have to share. You need to sit down with your husband in a non-food setting and have a serious discussion with him. What you need to tell him: 1. You don't want to share your food all the time. People are not required to share their non-communal meals. If you are agreeable to sharing a taste of your food, you will ask him if he wants to have a taste. 2. No means no. If he asks you for a taste and you say no, he needs to back off and accept it. 3. He owes you an apology for not accepting your no. It was ill-mannered of him to keep insisting that he should be able to eat your food. He needs to listen to you and respect your decision. If and only if he apologizes for not accepting your no first, you should apologize for yelling in the restaurant. What you need to ask him: 1. What is up with this sudden change where he is insisting on eating some of your food? Why is he doing it now when he never did it before? 2. Before you go to another restaurant together, you need to come to agreement on rules about each other's food, whether that be shared, no share, ask once and accept the answer, etc. Heck, it could be that as soon as he asks for a taste, he is responsible to pay for both meals. Whatever you decide, it should be agreed to before you go to another restaurant together. I absolutely agree with you on everything. No means no, and he's definitely old enough to know that. Not to mention the fact that he pressures original poster to share and throws a fit, like a toddler when told no repeatedly. You're married and pay for your own meals? Having a hard day passing an asshole judgment here, but grow in and start your life together or get divorced already. Edit. Typo. Not enough information. Does he try to eat a significant amount from your plate, or does he just want to try a little bit? Does he eat his own food that he ordered? Also, how long have you been together? It's incredibly normal for couples, or even friends, to try a bite from each other's plates. It doesn't mean that you didn't like what you ordered, it just means that you want to try it. It's fair if you personally have a hang-up about that. If that's the case, he should respect it, but I'm wondering if you're communicating that clearly, since your assumption here seems to be that it's rude and abnormal. But if he tries to eat a large portion of your food each time, yeah, that's definitely bizarre and shitty of him. Greater than it's incredibly normal for couples, or even friends, to try a bite from each other's plates. It's also incredibly normal not to want to share plates, but somehow you guys make us out to be weirdos for having an incredibly normal boundary. Because it's not normal. Normal people share a bite with their partners. It's very normal in some circles. I've never once asked to have a taste of someone else's meal, and nobody else in my family does it. What's not normal is pestering somebody relentlessly for their food after being told no, like the husband of original poster. Everyone who doesn't understand, let me explain it to you. Partners who do this after being told no don't really want the food. They just want to take it from you. It's a test to see how far they can push your boundaries. It seems so simple until you look at how it blew up into a fight. If it were so completely innocent, then a fight would not have happened. This was a power play, and he is furious that she isn't giving in. Not the asshole. I'm also wondering if he's trying to take the food from her for another reason, since this is something that just started recently. Shallow people can get controlling about food when there has been a recent weight gain. Not the asshole, but I have to question why it's such a big issue. It's still your choice, but when I'm out with my family, it's not all that uncommon for us to share a bite to try a different menu item. Also, you go to dinner with your husband and pay on separate checks? This sounds so nitpicky and scorekeeping that I had to go back and check that you did say husband. I can understand why this much distance in a relationship might be a factor to him as well. I mean, some people just don't like sharing food with anyone. I know for many people who are food insecure or neglected often are protective over food and hate sharing food. I know some neurodivergent folks hate sharing food for sensory or other reasons. Some people are squicked out by sharing food, cutlery due to hygiene, germ reasons. Some people just prefer not sharing their food because it's theirs, and why should they be obligated to share it for politeness' sake, especially if they don't ask to try others' food either. Like, it's normalized in my family and I don't mind sharing my food, but I'd be incensed if I told someone no and they tried to pressure me to change my mind. Just because something would be nice to do doesn't mean you have to do it, and in many cases, like this one, not doing the nice thing isn't causing anyone harm. I generally don't mind sharing a taste, but some people don't really understand what that means. I had to sit my husband down for a chat because he'd ask for a taste, or a bite, of my food, and then he'd, unhinge his jaw like a snake and take a big old giant honking bite, the biggest bite of all time. OMG, a third of my sandwich vanished. Where's the sandwich? I had looked forward to it. AAAAALLDAAAAAY. Bruh, that's not a taste. Have a nibble, don't hoover up someone's meal that they haven't properly enjoyed. Now we wait to share until we're finishing up, or we portion stuff onto each other's plates instead of helping ourselves. If he'd made me out to be the bad guy, or whined, that would have been an issue. Related. One time, a friend's husband asked her for a bite of her Snickers ice cream bar and crammed over half of it into his mouth. She was extremely pregnant at the time. She very nearly killed him. Not the asshole, and what a fuck. I can see him asking if there's food remaining after you're done eating, but to act like a toddler that's been told no in the toy aisle of Target is over the top. Not the asshole. No is a full sentence which your husband doesn't seem to grasp. Ask him why he can't take no for an answer, if he really respects you so little. You're not asking him to do something extremely hard, you're literally asking him to give you the smallest amount of respect. I'm shocked by the number of you are the asshole and everyone sucks here. It's not uncommon to share food, but it's not a mandatory part of a relationship. The real issue here is that you've expressed a very small boundary and your husband refuses to acknowledge it. That's messed up. You're not the asshole. IDC. What kind of relationship rituals are considered usual, you don't have to abide by them. You're not comfortable with sharing your food and you don't have to be. Joey does not share food LMAO. It's perfectly fine if you don't want to let your hubby taste a bit from your plate. But it not that weird request either. Anyways, he still should NT get mad for being answered no. Personally, I wouldn't find any issue sharing a taste from my plate. Me and my friends, family do that a lot, but I get it's not what everyone wants to do. Not the asshole. A few? Not the asshole. A few bites can be a considerable part of a dish. This sounds like the guy wants to muscle in on your dinner. Also, you said no. If he wants it so bad he can order it too. Like, I don't mind sharing my food and I'll even pick out a super choice bite for the other person. But if someone else doesn't like to share food, I'm not gonna hassle them about it.